If you're curious about how to kickstart your multifamily and commercial real estate investing journey, look no further than today. I am thrilled to introduce the smartest and most mysterious commercial real estate investor that I have ever met. His name is Jonathan Wright. When I heard Jonathan speak at a JT conference in both Toronto and Montreal, I had to do a double take on how this Canadian Army veteran managed to funnel his bravery on the field of combat into the field of commercial real estate. And what you might find most inspiring from our conversation today are the following: how to get your first multifamily deal and how not to bite off more than you can chew. He goes into a lot of very humble detail here. It's amazing. Secondly, how to farm a specific area to find deal flow, which is the hardest part of a very competitive and increasingly competitive industry. Even if you're finding this out, in other words, a deal, from someone as unassuming in the community as the gardener. Everyone counts. Lastly, how to build and manage your dream team to make sure that this marriage-like relationship in starting a commercial real estate company or investing team becomes your biggest asset instead of your biggest headache in what is an already headache-filled industry. No joke, very important, and he gives a great perspective on it. So get present and get ready to transport yourself back in time as we kick the episode off with Jonathan's inspiring story. I have lots of questions. I have to be, of course, selective on where I go with the next one. But yeah, let's loop it back to the military, because I mean, there's those are super strong skills and mindset that I think it scales, right? It does scale. Yeah. There's a book called Startup Nation. Right. It's how Israel's army veterans are some of the most well-known tech entrepreneurs in the world. Right. And how the way they raise money is the highest GDP, or I guess a capital raise to capita ratio ever over the state. So there are some things they talk about in the book, especially I think it's not only like having an appetite for risk, but also speaking up. Like they have a very flat hierarchy where they encourage people to challenge their superiors, right? So yeah. I guess, and you were talking about team as well. So what kind of culture are you building within your team, especially your property manager, who maybe is like, oh, Jonathan, the big boss, I don't want to tell him about something I messed up on, right? Like, how do you create that culture of challenging each other on the ground level across, let's call it, ranks in a company, and, wrapping that all into, I guess, instilling a mindset of just pushing because it's life or death, right? Like, where do you want to take that? Yeah. I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, really comes down to how you set up the systems fundamentally, and really that starts with communication. So how we talk to each other is ultimately how the culture starts to evolve. So whenever we're involved in a real estate transaction or an element of real estate, we set up communication systems such that everyone is at the table. So I don't create a hierarchical approach where everyone reports to me and then I just dish out instructions, simply because it doesn't make sense for me to do that. So I've kind of stepped away from the military chain of command aspect, and I've created more of like everyone has an equal seat at the table sort of approach. So how that falls down to communication, for example, if I'm doing a real estate acquisition, I don't just send an email to the realtor. I'm bringing in my contractor, my property manager, my real estate lawyer. Everyone is in that conversation, so that as we progress through everything, everyone is talking to everybody. And because I'm on that email chain, I get to see everything that happens, which gives me a hands-on approach without actually being hands-on. And I get to see everything as it's progressing. And the advantage there is if something starts to go wrong, I know about it immediately before it becomes a problem. And the advantage for everyone else, and they've all loved the way in which I operate, is that communication is so open. Everyone has absolutely astounding situational awareness throughout the entire transaction. So if the lawyer needs something, he doesn't need to come to me, and then I need to reach out to the realtor to reach out to the other owner. The realtor finds out right away and gets it for us. If we're trying to sell an asset, the property manager can provide anything about the property immediately without having to go through me to do it, which means that all the different elements of that transaction take minutes or hours to complete instead of days or weeks to complete. And because everything happens so quickly, I mean, it gets to the point where everyone's job is so easy, people almost feel guilty with the fees that they normally charge. Even my realtor my real estate lawyer dropped his fees because he said working with you is so easy. I don't feel right charging you normal real estate fees because everything almost happens for us because of how it's structured. And having a smooth system like that doesn't only make it easier on everyone involved, but it also makes it easier on you as an owner, freeing up your time for what really matters. And it also helps building a very strong culture because people love doing their job because you've made it so easy that they realize, wow, there's an easier way to do this. And anytime someone has an idea, hey, can we try and do it this way? Everyone has an equal say at the table. So if they have a great idea, they're not afraid to bring it up because a lot of times those great ideas get fed into the system as it evolves. And that's the important thing about systems is that they're never stagnant. They're always changing based on changing circumstances, changing members of the team, scale of the team, different ideas that get introduced. Again, everyone has something to contribute, and you need to be open to that as an entrepreneur.
Love that. So well said. And speaking of team, what is the high level of your team now? Is it like a core team of X amount of people? Then you've got, extended team in certain markets, or what do you do? Who define as team? I guess, even just like payroll versus just a partner, right?
Well, it'd be hard to describe the entire structure in a matter of minutes, but ultimately it is market dependent. So some markets where we're a little bit more established, our team's a little bit more integrated versus contracted out.
Right.
Partners are sometimes included in communication, sometimes not. Usually at the beginning, the partner wants to know what's going on until they realize that we're running so smoothly, they don't want to be inundated with emails.
You mean the capital partner, right? The capital
absolutely.
partner.
Yes, absolutely. So once they realize everything's running smoothly, now they're saying, okay, just give me quarterly updates or yearly updates, or depending on a partner and their appetite. And you as the operator essentially are responsible to adapt to whatever the partner wants. But in terms of our team, yes, we do have a core team, but that core team is hard to define because it really depends on what industry I'm in. Because I don't only do real estate, I'm in business as well. So some of the people are involved in both the business aspect and the real estate aspect. Some are segregated. Again, the structure is a little bit more complex than I can just describe easily here. But that's because I've scaled so much at this level. But at the beginning, you have to build and establish your teams based on where you're at. And that is really situational from person to person and situation to situation. And that's really what I specialize in, is how to build the systems and build the teams to maximize your time as an entrepreneur. Because I've done it for myself and I've done it for other business owners as well.
Yeah, work smart, not hard, and with more heart. And a good way to start to end off is, really, how do you not burn out with everything that you're doing? I don't know if you want to dive into habits, basic health. How do you do it, man? Because a lot of people, I think, would burn out here. So anything you can share would be awesome.
Well, managing your time becomes important because a lot of people tend to burn out because they're spending too much time doing other things that they don't need to be doing, or spending too much time on a particular task. So typically when I'm having meetings, there's no reason to have an hour long meeting. 5, 10, 15 minutes tops is more than enough. So eliminate the small talk, eliminate anything that's not necessary, and get straight to the point. If you want to have small talk, do that on your leisure time. And then it feels like leisure time, right? And you need to give yourself that leisure time every single day. So I don't take vacation, but I take a little bit of vacation every day, if that makes any sense. So I'm able to disconnect and spend time with family or spend time for myself, just doing my own thing, whether it's hobbies, whatever it is I'm doing. But try and incorporate that into your daily routine, because the problem with people who work like crazy just for a 2-week vacation or whatever vacation period they have is that you're going to burn out long before that vacation happens. And that brief vacation you take is not going to make a dent in recovery from basically overworking yourself for that long period of time. That sort of vacation has to be incorporated into your daily schedule.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's the life design and making sure that you're balanced. And again, if you're doing some travel too, I'm sure you tack on a couple of days to maybe do a bit of sightseeing, or you find a way to have it all flow. So I think it is about that. It's work-life integration versus work-life balance. So I think that's wonderful. To wrap up, John, I actually didn't even have time to take notes. I'm just so engaged in our conversation. But summarizing this into it's always about what's that next step, right? For that entrepreneur, who is a little burnt out, might have a bit of excess capital, has great relationships, and wants to start to diversify into real estate. It sounds like, from my notes, look in your local market. Number one, start to maybe take stock of your relationships, get creative with your relationships beyond just realtors. It's who's your ears to the ground. And then it looks like start small with the unit. Have some kind of partner, co-founder, maybe someone who, again, if you think of like building technology, usually there's a salesperson and a technology person or a developer. Here, it seems like it's more of a hands-on person versus a money person. Build a small team, work on your first deal. And then once it all happens, all the learning, I guess, occurs. And then start to think of it as a business, start to scale it, give it serious time, start to nurture your investor relationships, start small with the doctors, the lawyers, people in your network. Get some wins under your belt first, probably, before you get too crazy with it. And then, eventually it could be something you do full time. And actually, maybe on that note, do you believe in doing this part time, or at what point do you see people making like the full leap into being an investor versus, running a business, being a business owner?
Well, it really depends on your circumstance. If you have a day job or whatever it is you do every day to earn income, to earn a living, you can't necessarily just drop that and move into real estate, because real estate doesn't necessarily make money quick.
Of course.
It can make a lot of money, but it takes time. Yeah. And you need to be able to support yourself and or your family in that time. Mm-hmm. So some people may have to start part-time, but you're going to have to understand that you're going to have to sacrifice something to be able to do that. So you may have to take time away from family, away from friends, in order to get that started, because real estate does take a lot of time building the relationships, and you need to be able to invest that time. So the most important thing is not only to realize what it takes out of yourself to be able to accomplish that, but it's also making sure that the people in your life, whether it be your wife, your kids, immediate family, friends, so on and so forth, understand what it is you're trying to do, and understand that you're making the sacrifice and they're going to be making a sacrifice as well, because they're losing time with you for you to be able to do that. So ultimately you can set yourself up to be able to leave that job and have ultimately more time with them, because I get to choose every single day how much time I want to spend with family. It's my choice. But if I had a job, it's not entirely my choice. I'm limited by, whatever work hours I have. So I'm doing what it takes to give myself the choice. And you need to have the people in your life buy into that.
100%. How can people partner with you or get involved in your journey?
Well, I mean, you can reach out to me on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or, if someone reaches out to you and, wants my contact details, we can definitely have a conversation from there. And I'm happy to get on a call with them. We can have a talk in terms of, what it is they're trying to accomplish, if they're wanting to partner, if they're wanting to get educated, if they're wanting some insights, whatever it may be, I'm happy to help.
Beautiful. Super generous. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. This is awesome. And look forward to part 2 and 3 and all the subsequent conversations. Have a great day, man.
Thanks, you too. Take it easy.
Thanks. Flow well. Are you feeling an energy lift after listening to Jonathan's insights? If so, here's an under 2-minute action step that you can take to get today into action. Who in your network has the capacity and complementary skills to help you farm an area and consistently take swings in the commercial real estate space? Chances are you already know them. So start farming your own relationships that you have worked likely your entire life to build. Here is an important moment to get out there and make some impact to both your wallet, your family, your community. Get after it. If you want more flow in your life design and entrepreneurial journey, reach out to us and inquire which of our guests, like Jonathan, may have room to coach you. We at Level Up Mortgages and this podcast are leading the charge to help good-hearted doers like yourself level up by investing in coaching, real estate, and any other social or physical environment that gives you both cash and life flow. Until next time, remember to take care of both your current and future self.